welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Chris Kelso. If you want to hear this show or any of our past shows at any given time, tune in to priceofbusiness.com, where you can hear us anytime you need to, and take a look at our great guests we've had and a lot of our great sponsors. Up next right now, we have Scott Dunagan. Scott, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Oh, very good. Hopefully I didn't mispronounce any one of your names or anything.
Nope, we're all good.
It sounds great. Well, we got a great topic today. We're talking a little bit about the Mummies of the World exhibition that's going on right now. And before we get started, let us know a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, I'm the Vice President of External Affairs at the Bowers Museum, so I'm responsible for marketing, advertising, PR, all those sorts of things at the museum.
That is awesome. So let's talk a little bit about the national exhibition that's going on right now for Mummies of the World. I guess it sounds like a completely unique and different exhibition that's going on. It
is. It's a bunch of mummies from around the world, not just your traditional Egyptian wrapped up mummies, and it's traveling around, and we're glad and proud to have it at the Bowers.
And when you say mummies, you don't need mummy like the English version, you mean mummy like the mummified versions.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, and talk a little bit about, I guess that's a pretty interesting process, because if you look at the mummification process, obviously, and we all look at it as being, an ancient Egyptian, tradition that they did right there. I guess talk a little bit about what we're going to be seeing at this exhibition and what differs it from, let's say, other items that we could be looking at. Yeah,
definitely. So there's mummies that are both mummified, as you mentioned, in the religious fashion or on purpose. We got some Egyptian mummies like that. We also have a mummy that was mummified in 1994 using the ancient Egyptian techniques from the University of Maryland. And those are our Egyptian-style mummies. We also have a bunch of mummies that were mummified naturally. So they may have been entombed in a crypt where the environmental conditions were such that they naturally dried out and desiccated and became mummified. We have one that was mummified in a bog in the Netherlands. So there's a wide variety of ways that bodies get mummified that are not through the Egyptian techniques.
Now, is this a permanent exhibition that you got there, or is this a traveling exhibition that goes around?
It's a traveling exhibition that goes around. It came to us from Salt Lake City, Utah, and I believe it's going to Houston next. That's the last I've heard. And then I think it's going over to Taiwan after that. That is awesome.
That is really neat. I know that the Bauer Museum obviously is recognized as Orange County's finest art museum. Talk a little bit about what you guys do there and sort of what your philosophy is.
Yeah, what we try to do is expose Southern California to cultures that they may not be able to travel to or things like that. So we've got, on our permanent collection, we have some traditional historical artifacts and art from California. And we also have, though, a fairly large permanent collection of objects from China, as well as from the South Pacific. We've got some overmoated heads over there. We've got some dining utensils of headhunters. So there's a wide variety of stuff in our permanent collection as well. And so, as I said, our goal is to expose the folks in Southern California to cultures that they don't see every day.
And that is neat. And what better excuse to get to Southern California, by the way, than to be able to say, hey, I got to go and visit the Bowers Museum right there to be able to see all this stuff and take advantage of your great weather that you got out there.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful right now, so it's definitely more time to come.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little about one of the things that we talk about, that I talk about my children. I'm very adamant about this, is preserving arts and culture and how imperative it is for the youth of this country, the youth of all nations, to get to see what's going on with other people, what happened in our past, what possibly could happen in our future. But I think it's important for us to get the word out about how important it is to preserve the arts and to continue to enrich lives through this.
Oh, definitely. I totally agree. As I said, we have the traveling exhibitions that we bring through to expose folks to that. But we also have partnerships with world-famous museums like the British Museum, the Palace Museum in Beijing, Tokyo National Museum, and the Vatican, and several other museums around the world, so that we can, work towards educating people on how important it is to preserve our history and our legacy.
What do you see coming up? I guess if you look down a little ways, what are some of the items you have coming up either this year or the next couple of years that you're trying to bring to your museum?
So we're real excited. We've got we're bringing up from the Basilica in Mexico City a large exhibit on the Virgin of Guadalupe, and that opens in October. We've got a Frida Kahlo photography exhibit coming up. We've got, for the first time out of China, we're bringing an exhibit on the Princess Dowager to America, and that's happening at the end of next year. And then we're bringing back would be the only museum in the world that's had this for 3 times. We're bringing back the Terracotta Warriors for a 3rd time to the Bowers.
Wow, the Terracotta Warrior. That actually, I was reading about that a couple of years ago. That is absolutely a very impressive exhibition, by the way.
It's an amazing exhibition, and as I said, the Princess Dowager exhibit from China as well is going to be something that it's not seen here. It's not seen outside of China, so we're really proud of that.
Well, and then you just got to also talking about bringing in the Virgen de Guadalupe in Spanish, what they call about right there that is something obviously within Latin America and something that you influence very strongly in Southern California is going to be a very big hit for a lot of your individuals that are of Latin American descent who obviously you have a very big Catholic base down there in Latin America and a very large one obviously in California. We do. It's the patron saint. She's the patron saint, so we're excited to be working right now with the Catholic diocese here in Southern California, in Orange County specifically, to make folks aware of what we're bringing in, and we're excited to have it. It's an amazing exhibit from the Basilica in Mexico City. Now, how much gorgeous art? How much longer is Mummies of the World going to be there? Mummies will be here until September, and then the Virgin of Guadalupe opens in October. And where exactly are you located in Southern California? If someone's planning their vacation right now, which I know a lot of individuals are. What's that planning process? What are the hours of exhibition, et cetera, et cetera? Yeah. So we're located in the heart of Orange County in Santa Ana. We're about 12 minutes south of Disneyland, for your national audience that knows where Disneyland's at. Okay. And the museum's open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday, 10 to 4. And you can find all the information about us at bowers.org. Bowers.org. Some great stuff going on, obviously. You can also check you out on Facebook, can't you, at Bowers Museum? Yep. We're at Bowers Museum on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And we have about a minute left right here. Obviously, we talked about what's coming up. We talked about what you have right now. What makes Bowers Museum great? I always like to ask that question. Well, I think it really is a combination of our permanent exhibits, our relationship that we have with the international museums, and our dedication, realistically, to our local community and educating those folks. Our programming department brings in some amazing educational programming and speakers to go in conjunction with the exhibits. So a trip to the museum is not just, I'm going to look at some art or I'm going to look at some artifacts. There really is an amazing experience that you have there with a lecture series or a film series and our great restaurant as well. Now, does anything come alive at night, like Night at the Museum? Not quite, but we do some after-hours activities. We actually have one coming up in early June. We're having a prefix dinner with our Tangata restaurant and a lantern tour of the Mummies. That is awesome. Well, again, that is Scott Dunagan. He is with the Bowers Museum, bowers.org, or you can check him out on Facebook at facebook.com, Bowers Museum. Scott, thanks a lot for being on board The Price of Business today. No, thanks a lot. I appreciate you having me. I appreciate it as always. For all those, we still have a little bit more to go. But we got to take a break, pay for this show, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.